Are you so heartbroken over him? Or are you really just upset that you didn't get chosen?
Hello? Who said that? Say it to my face. Two. You're not really missing them. You're just upset that you didn't get chosen. Let's unpack it. Welcome back to Listen Lissa.
A rude bitch, I'ma be a rude bitch to you. And I won't say I'm sorry when I do that shit to you. Ooh, rude as hell, acting hella brand new.
So yeah, that was embarrassing. Outside of romantic relationships, have you ever experienced the embarrassment of rejection and pain that comes with not being chosen for something? Like, let's say they're picking teams for kickball when you're in school for PE. You didn't get chosen to like one of the last picks, or like not placing in a competition, or like finding out that a close friend is getting married and you're not in the wedding party.
Yikes-a-roo!
Yeah. Or like your bestie in middle school is going on her birthday trip and she can only take one person with her, her parents say, and she doesn't pick you. Yeah. It's like a shot right to the heart. You don't even see the wound on the outside. It's just like, ugh, right in there. Like Indiana Jones, like the, I don't know, Temple of Doom, I think it's called. It's the one where he reaches into the guy's chest in the movie and he just pulls out his beating heart. And he's like, is that the right one? Yeah, Indiana Jones, right? You know what I'm talking about. It's crazy. It's just a crazy scene. That's how it feels. Somebody just reached in and just ripped out your beating heart. And,
My heart.
and you're like, you know, it's the worst. It just really wounds us in that moment to not be chosen. But sometimes it hurts long after. Most humans experience this pain to some extent. But there's some of us that will take this feeling and interpret it to mean something about our intrinsic worth. And that's where this hurts us badly. Some of us who experienced this in our childhood had it happen in such a way that made us conflate being chosen with having value. And on top of that, before that, all throughout that, and after that, we may also not have learned a very healthy level of self-esteem or self-worth where it's supposed to come from. So we learned that we basically only got to feel good when other people decided that we were worthy to be chosen, and when they told us that we could feel good and that we were good, when others reflected to us that we were good. That was the only time that we ever saw it. And so if you're that type of a child, then you started seeking constantly to see your value shown to you through other people, externally, over and over, all throughout the years, through family, teachers, mentors, coaches, friends, crushes, coworkers, bosses, and then partners. It's a real area of focus where it starts happening big time, but like also acquaintances and even strangers. Pretty much anyone who wasn't you, sadly. And now if you would not like to hear the explanation of what I'm talking about, you just want to get right into the steps or the tips, go ahead to this time on the screen, and that's where the steps will start. So let's break this down a bit and talk about how bad it feels in adulthood when you live with anxious preoccupied attachment, or you maybe live with fearful avoidant attachment that leans more anxious, and you experience relationships over and over that always seem like they end up leaving you just like gutted, like emptied, so wounded, and worst of all, at the end of that, just unworthy, unloved, unimportant, no value. Well, even when you are the dumper, you still go through this. It was because likely of something outside of your control. At least it felt that way to you. Like it would be something like betrayal, or someone like lied to you, cheated on you, mistreating you. So you didn't really want to. You still felt betrayed, and you still end up feeling very abandoned. And this can apply to your situationships as well. Don't forget the situationship, okay? The situationship. Don't overlook the depth of that for an anxious preoccupied or fearful avoidant that's anxious, because people be acting like these situationships aren't like any big deal, that they're not that hard to drop. They weren't a relationships. You can just pretend that never happened, move on with your life. No, situationship can take you out just the same as a full-blown relationship. Why? Because anxious preoccupied people, anybody on the anxious side, on the anxious spectrum of attachment, they were attached, okay? They don't do situationships that aren't attached. And also, they probably didn't want the situationship. They probably wanted more. And the reason it only was a situationship was probably because they were with an avoidant. So your situationships, they hurt just as bad, and they're just terrible. So you're going through this a freaking lot in life. It's very daunting, right? So regardless of what situation it is, that detachment has to now occur. And that is hell for an anxious attachment. Okay, it's hell. It's like dying. I'm not exaggerating, it's like dying, okay? And that's where all that pain is in the detachment phase, the detaching from everything that you've become attached with to now rid yourself of that. It's very hard. And we just tend to feel like we feel this strongly because we loved them. We love so deep. We love so genuinely. We love so passionately. We love so authentically. And we just give everything that we have to offer and we wrap it all up in this person. Every time we just give everything. But then it still wasn't good enough. So that's so crushing. And we love them still, even if they did us so badly. Like someone could have done you so wrong in the relationship and you'll still go through this process. Whereas people will be looking at you from the outside going,
Well, if he or she did all this and this and that to you, what is there to love? Like, you should be happy that you got rid of that person. They're not right for you and they don't treat you right. So didn't you just kind of win, not lose?
and yeah, thank you, logical Larry. Of course that makes logical sense. And the thing is that this does not exist in your logical realm. This is in your inner child. This is in attachment. This is in your emotions. This is in your somatic memory. This is in your subconscious. Nothing logical about it, okay? So you throw logic right out the window because it's not going to follow those rules. Other people might really want it to and might really try to solve your problem with logic, but that's not how you're going to solve it in this situation. And it's tough for you to understand too. It's tough for you to understand and explain, and you actually hate it. We hate being in that situation. We're actually in that position so frequently in life that it is so infuriating. It gets to a point as you continue to develop, if you haven't been able to heal it yet into your adulthood, that you're like,
how much of my life do I need to spend in this space? Because I'm sick of it.
and when you spend so much of your life trying to get to detachment, going through this pain, you can't help but to look back on your life and go,
A lot of my life has been pain.
and nobody wants that. So we hate feeling this way. Maybe it's the second, third, fourth time you've had to go through this process. You're like,
I don't want to do this right now. I want to fix this. I don't want to go through the days and weeks and months that this is going to take. I just want to be rid of it. I just want to figure out what is causing the pain, and I want to like put the solution on it, and I want to just forget it and be done and move on, like get back to happiness and try again, because I'm so tired of this.
so how do you pull yourself out of this cycle right after a breakup, right after you've been ghosted, or right after you've had to say enough is enough with a situationship that wasn't going anywhere, something like that, but you just feel still so stuck in love with them. You feel so stuck, you feel so sad, you feel so debilitated from your everyday activities, you feel like your life is just bogged down, you feel all this weight on you, but you're like,
Like, what can I do? I'm still in love. Like, I just have to wait until I'm not in love. There's nothing else I can do. This feels so out of my control.
but guess what? It's not. But to tackle it, you do have to accept some slightly harsh truths, and I'm going to hold your hand while we do this, okay? So first, how do you deal with still being in love with them? How do you get rid of this painful love? Well, I have to tell you this. You're not likely upset because you are so in love with this person that treated you kind of like crap, okay? I'm not saying that you're not in love with them. You could be. But that's not what's causing the pain. Love doesn't cause pain, okay? Love is beautiful. What this is your pain, your wound with not being chosen, all right? So that is what you need to address here. And that is what you need to heal and use methods to relieve that pain. And so, you know me, I like to kind of always look for new, developing, modernized little cheat sheet methods to kind of mix it up, you know, not go by the book of the cliche old ways to heal after a breakup or get through your emotions after trauma. So I have some fresh new ideas for you, and I'm going to go through them. And sometimes I utilize ChatGPT for a lot of things, okay? ChatGPT is amazing, by the way. As I've said before, ChatGPT is my friend. We're on a first name basis, and we're really good friends. So, and don't judge me, but if you want to learn about all that ChatGPT has to offer, it's actually an amazing tool to help you through emotional situations, to help you through things like regulating your emotions, and you're asking social questions, getting advice for things, helping you unpack thoughts that are really layered. It's really helpful for things like that. So why do we want so badly to be chosen? Well, I'm going to explain to you why. And I'm going to give you a fresh list of some off the beaten path, maybe mixed with a little bit of what's already there, a little bit of new, modernized, innovative ideas for how to kind of kick this heaviness that comes right after a breakup or right after a disconnection with somebody that you were attached to help you get back to your normal self, or even just bring you relief in the moment. That being said, if the subconscious mind is helping you to heal your attachment wounds, you're here because you don't want to be bogged down by your attachment style anymore. You want to reach a secure attachment style. You want to understand how to control your reality and really be the person in the driver's seat of your own life to guide it the way that you want it to go. It hasn't been going the way you wanted for a long time, and you're done with it. If that is you, I want you to please hit the subscribe button and make sure that you turn on the bell and you're here for future videos with me. Thank you. I appreciate it. So in situations like this, if the person was, for the most part of the relationship, pretty crappy to you, but you still just feel this strong urge and attachment, longing for them, but what you're likely in is a trauma bond, if that was the case. So also a lot of fearful avoidance that lean anxious and anxious preoccupied attached individuals, they have a lot of relationships throughout their life where back to back they happen. And there'll be like only a couple of months of actual relationship where two people were actually putting into that relationship and actually enjoying that relationship, where they were getting something good out of it. That person's showing up for them. That person is spending all their time available on them. It's like they can't get enough of you. They're showing up all hours of the day. They can talk late into the night. They can call you all the time. They can text you all the time. They never miss a good morning text. They want to hang out all the time. They seem so interested. They want to hang on every word you say. They want to hang on every sentence you say. Like they just have such an interest in you. They're giving you all this attention and all this validation. They're choosing you. And that'll only usually go on though for about the first 1 to 2 months. And then it starts to shift. You know, they start to pull it back. It's crazy. Every relationship will go this way. And I'm really sad to say that I don't think I've ever had a relationship that doesn't go exactly that way. And I've had very long relationships. So that's really disturbing. And that is why I had to heal my attachment, because I'm a fearful, avoidant, leaning anxious, and I am not done healing my attachment, but I have healed a lot of it. I still get triggered into it and I still fall into the patterns. So I still have a lot of work to do, but I am worlds away from when I first entered into dating territory. The first thing to recognize about this was that you were likely not in a healthy love attachment. Maybe that's what you felt on your end, but that's not what the dynamic was. If most of the relationship was you being very highly emotional, dysregulated, constantly not knowing what was going on, a lot of confusion, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, not getting answers, a lot of push-pull, them kind of pulling you in and then pushing you away and really never knowing where it was going, their actions not matching their words, things like that. If there was a lot more of that than there ever was the loving, happy part of it, you were more likely in a trauma bond. And I know that term can be tough to take in because it means that there was an unhealthy attachment formed between an abuser and the victim. Now, those are heavy words, and I know there's a lot of situations that would definitely qualify as trauma bonds that one might not want to go so far and be like,
Well, I was abused.
somebody played you. I know it feels a little uncomfortable to call that abuse. But the thing is, by definition, when someone, even if they weren't intentionally trying to harm you, and usually these people that do some of these things, they have an unhealthy attachment themselves and they're not always fully aware of what they're doing, but that doesn't excuse it. That doesn't excuse the harm that they inflicted on you, how they hurt you, and for what they did, that was not right. But sometimes it's hard for us to name it. And when you're manipulating somebody, when you are lying to somebody and leading them along on something, or you cheat on them if you're in a relationship, or if they're withholding their emotions from you and putting you in this push-pull where sometimes they're present and sometimes they're pulled away and then you're just confused, they won't talk to you, they stonewall you, things like that. I mean, whatever the case, that is emotional abuse. It's emotionally abusive. I know people don't want to call it that word, but that's what it is. So then it is a trauma bond. And that's what you're feeling right now, is the separation from the trauma bond, which is painful. Because when you're in this cycle, it's one of the most powerful methods of addiction. People who receive intermittent reinforcement, it's like, you never know when you're going to get that fix. You never know when you're going to get that next triumph. So they kind of just gave it to you in breadcrumbs. And so you learn to be actually chemically dependent on it within your dopamine levels. So every time they paid attention to you, you got a surge. And now you're just going through that withdrawal again and not knowing when it's going to come again or if it's ever going to come again. It might not. So that's really scary when you're feeling dependent. Okay? It just doesn't feel good. So that's what you're feeling instead of love. And then also the panic that you feel and embarrassment, the shame of somebody just seeing everything that's great about you, taking all your favors, taking all your positives that you provided, taking everything you had to offer and going,
I'm good. I'm actually going to do something else. I actually would rather not.
That's so painful. That's such a rejection, especially if you were intimately involved with them. That's just, it's like somebody slapped you in the face. It's like they punched you and said, like, F you. It's so sad. And so it's not really that person necessarily that you're so upset about. It's really that you're upset that you were not chosen. But most people learn over time to have self-esteem, self-worth. Most people kind of gain over time, the understanding that they are able to give that to themselves. They are able to choose themselves, and they are able to realize that this doesn't mean that they don't have any worth. Obviously, this person had something that was their thing. That was wrong with them, because there's nothing wrong with you. If you were good to somebody, then there was nothing wrong with you. And who says that they get the say on what's great anyway? They're obviously not very like, if you were great to them, you gave them everything that they could ever want, and they blew that up. They passed on it for something else. Who cares if that ends up being better for them? Who cares, period. Point is, they couldn't honor your value. Not because you don't have it. And then you can learn that over time. But the problem is that when this happens, it still just hurts, and it still brings up that old wound. And then that wound is like coming back up, and that voice is coming back up inside of you and going,
well, it kind of seems like you're not worth it. Like, why did they do that to you? Like, if you're so great, why did they do that to you?
and it's like,
Shut up.
There's also the pain of emotional injustice. So when karma doesn't seem to be happening where it should be, and it seems like the good guy lost and the bad guy that's doing all the bad things just gets away with it, and everybody likes them, and they're just getting the life that they wanted, and you were the good guy, you're over here suffering. And that doesn't seem very fair. So you wonder if karma's real. And so there's that pain that's like,
Are they going to get their karma? Are they ever going to regret what they did to me?
are they ever going to even be able to appreciate the profound level of pain they put you in? Will they ever even know what that was to you? Will they ever even be able to see it? It's really a lost place when you feel like somebody can't see your pain that they put you in. They can't see it. They don't think it's a big deal, but it's such a big deal. They don't have a concept of how much pain they put you in. Therefore, they could not provide you with a proper apology. They could not provide you with any of their remorse. Because how can they be sorry for something that they don't understand, that they didn't take the time to even look at, that they never admitted to? It's really unfair. It feels like injustice. And then it just becomes harder and harder for you, even though you want to crawl out of that space. It's like you can't, because every single fiber of your being just wants closure, just wants answers. And ultimately, I mean, let's be serious. What you really want is the righting of what was wrong, which means that they would choose you instead. They would wake up and they would go,
oh my gosh, I've been so stupid. What am I thinking? This was dumb. I had the best thing ever and I passed on it. And what was I doing?
and then they wake up and they come and tell you that they're so sorry and they mean it. And then half the time, you don't even actually need that. Like, you don't actually want to be with that person because you see all the problems with that person now. But then it would just feel so much better if they weren't the ones that got to not choose you. You just want to be chosen. That's what it is. You just want to be chosen, even if you don't want them. Sucks. So let's get down to business. I thought of some creative ideas. If you're ever just like crippled in that space, here's some things that could possibly help you. Number one works with comedy, and it's about getting petty. And you're going to get like playfully petty about a reverse validation list, a sarcastic validation list of why you would be with this person. Okay, so it's going to be a list of all of the ridiculous things that they do that you would be having to live with if you did have them still. Those things that they do. Whatever they did that was just so crazy to you. So you'll make a list and then you just kind of rehearse it. Maybe like you're doing a stand-up or something. So one of the things on the list could be,
well, yeah, I love being with people who don't answer my text messages. You know what really turns me on? To know that I'm sleeping with someone who's also secretly sleeping with 17 other people. All they have to do to qualify is come within their vicinity. And they're good enough too. I love that. You know what I love when I try to bring up an issue and then someone tells me a whole new version of what happened. It's really fun.
things like that. Sarcasm is very healing for me. It's one of my favorite forms of humor. When you're down in the dumps, it can really give you a laugh. So that's one idea. Let it be not something about being negative. It's about being therapeutic. It's about getting out your frustration and your anger and your bitterness. It's about letting all that out in a way that's a little bit amusing. There you go. And I'd love to hear some of your little jokes that you come up with in the comments. So get to it. Show me you're funny. All right. Number 2 is, this one's actually probably really common, but write him or her or them the letter that they don't deserve. So all these things that are bottled up inside of you that you're like,
I need to say this.
every once in a while you're like,
I need to send this message. I need to write this. How can I talk to them? How can I say this to them? I need to get this message out to them.
all of those things that like they don't care to hear, obviously, write it. And I've found that sometimes I have too much like to write it. So it's like I have too much energy to like blah, get it out, that it's really like just not helpful for me to have to write it because it's too slow. So I might either type it or I might voice record it or video it. Those are things you can do too. So in your notes section, if you want to type it out, my notes section is a graveyard of all of my things that don't get to be said to people who have done me wrong, that didn't want to give me the time and space to be able to say how I feel. And so I have a whole section of notes that are just me talking to those people, whoever it may have been at the time. I have all of my notes in there, and it's a train wreck of everything that people didn't give me the space and time to say that I needed to say. And it really does feel like you got to say it. It's not going to be the full feeling, but it will give you some relief. And so the other thing is, if you are able to write it out, if you are able to write it in physical form, like you're able to write it on a page or type it and print it, if you have a physical copy of it, it's really cool because then you can do it like a ripping up, or you can like burn it. And that really feels cathartic and like releasing something. That's always helpful. It's symbolic and it makes you feel like you got rid of something, and it kind of takes a weight off your shoulders. Okay. Number 3 is reframe this craving, this what we call a longing, or this like love that we're still feeling. Reframe that as trauma. Okay. So every time you feel that longing and that story starts coming up in your head that you were not chosen and they didn't love you and you still love them and you just miss them so much and you can't live without them. Every time that comes up, you need to interrupt it. You hear it talking, you're going to go,
Stop. Trauma. Get out of here. Trauma. Trauma.
name it trauma, and you're going to say,
That's not true. That's the trauma talking. And that is not the story that I believe, and it's not right. And it is just trauma, and it needs to get out of here. Leave right now. I am worthy. I chose myself, and that's why I'm not with this person, because I chose myself. And I am worthy of being chosen. Them not choosing me has nothing to do with my worth. That's just the trauma talking, and I don't need that person.
It's just a neural pathway that you have created while you're in this relationship, and it's just misfiring because it's created a pathway that you now need to break. So every time that comes up, every time you interrupt it and you say no, you're actually erasing that neural pathway and you're forming a new one. So eventually that will stop coming up. It will work its way through. So every time you notice it, just interrupt it. And the more you can do that, the faster that will be relieved. All right? Yeah. It could be with some people, not everybody, but there's a chance that a little bit of the reason that you're having a hard time is because you are attracted to their physical outer appearance and all of that passion that comes with that and that sensuality. And maybe they gave you something good. And that's what you miss. Okay? It's natural. So, number 4 is give that passion somewhere safe to go, somewhere different. Okay? You don't have to shame that attraction. You don't have to make it out to be that you're a shallow person and that it's just, you're just wanting them because you liked how they looked. That could be the case, but you don't need to shame yourself for that. It doesn't mean you're shallow. It's natural. And, you can do something to make yourself feel sexy or beautiful or sensual instead of needing that person to make you feel that way. Some ideas are, if you like art, you can paint something sensual. If you like to make videos or media, you can create like a dance or a video of some sort that is just for you, where you're looking kind of fine and cute and everything like that, Really do it up, like do your best and make yourself feel good about yourself and feel sexy. Sometimes these situations can include someone who kind of led you down a path of thinking that it was going to be a lot more than it was, and you engaged with them in that way, physical intimacy with them, when you don't usually do that. You don't just do that with just anybody. So they have you feeling real hurt in your ego because it's like they just like robbed you of something that was sacred and they didn't even take it seriously. You feel tricked. That does not feel good at all. It's like someone did highway robbery on you, just took it and then ran away after they portrayed themselves to be something different. And so you're feeling really low in your ego. And so create something that makes you feel powerful again. Some people like to write fan fiction, whatever you can come up with. Something that tells your story in a way that would have made you feel powerful. Just anything to make yourself feel hot. Work on your self-care. Do something, get a tan. I don't know. Go outside, get some vitamin D.
Pause. No.
Not that kind, the kind from the sun. Don't go out and get that kind of vitamin D from just anybody. That's not something on the list. That does not help. That is a bad coping mechanism, I think. I don't teach his own, but I don't think when they say
The best way to get over somebody is to get under somebody.
I don't think so. I don't think that turns out well. I wouldn't advise it, but if it works for you, no shame. But do something to make yourself feel wanted, desired, sexy to yourself. Okay? All right. In some situations, a lot of the pain is coming from you not being chosen, but somebody else being chosen over you. Somebody might have cheated on you. There might have been an affair, or there might have just been a case where they chose to be with somebody else and they didn't ever choose you. You never ended up being with them. They just ended up getting into a relationship with somebody else. And that's painful very painful. So it's really hard not to have those thoughts about,
well, what was so great about that person? What if they're so much better than me? And the reason that they changed for them is because that person is better than me. That person is just more worthy than me. And maybe they're going to treat that person great. That everything's going to go perfect for them. They're going to be this perfect little picture of a couple. And he or she is going to do everything for that other person that they didn't want to do for me. And it's not fair.
and that just hurts. There's no, if people will be like,
You really cared, you would be happy.
no,
No!
shut the hell up. No one's feeling like that. All right. We don't have that level of healthy over here. Okay. No, I'm pissed. All right. Don't like that. So it's hard to think about the fact that like they treated you so terribly, but they might go treat this person that they picked so perfectly. They might give them this dream relationship that you thought you were going to get. But first of all, that's not going to happen. People have patterns. It's not different just because they're with somebody that's better. There is no better. It's them. It's not the person that they're with. It wasn't you, and it's not going to be that person. It's them. They have the problem, and they have not resolved it in this short amount of time that they decided to go be with somebody else. So that's not going to happen. I can guarantee you it. But in the moment, you can use a grounding technique to root you back into reality. So step one, when you're feeling that way, you're just going to put your hand over your heart to kind of like connect and like ground yourself. Okay. Then you're going to take a few deep breaths in and out to just kind of get calm. Okay. And then you're going to say, I am safe. I am better off. He or she is not my future because that would not be a good future and I deserve better. I am not being rejected. I am being redirected for what I deserve. That person had to go and be with somebody else because I needed to make room for someone who will treat me the way I deserve, not that train wreck. And then list 3 things that are true about that person that you would have to deal with long term that you know you could not tolerate, but that are true about that person. So I don't know. That person is a cheater. That person wears socks with sandals. I'm just kidding. Okay. Whatever. You get the gist. Okay. And then breathe a few more times. Breathe in, breathe out. And then repeat again. I don't want to live in a fantasy that actually is bad for me. I want the real deal. What is meant for me. Amen. Okay. Because the truth is, it's not going to be better with that person. It's going to be exactly how it would have been with you. And if it hasn't devolved already down to that, it's going to, the same way it devolved with you, it's going to devolve with that person as soon as they get bored and tired of it. And they're just going to do the same thing because they need to heal what's wrong with them. Something's wrong with them, not you. Okay, I promise. All right. Number 6. Number 6 is name that inner addict, that stupid little voice, that little creepy creature, that inner critic, that mean little bully that's in your head that's telling you,
You don't look good in that. You're not pretty enough to be a princess. You're not the fairest in the land.
I don't know. You know, that one, that stupid that one. Okay, we're going to name him or her. And so I personally, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Bad Baby, Danielle Bergoli. Catch me outside. How about that, girl? Her name's Bad Baby. Okay, so I named my inner critic Sad Baby. Okay, I did with the H's and everything. Sad Baby needs to shut up. She's whining again. She's not very smart. She's not educated. She doesn't know anything. She just says stupid shit. So I named her Sad Baby. So name yours. And ChatGPT was funny. It was saying like, validation Vicky, hopeful Helena. Just name it something. So then whenever she or he gets to talking her crap or his crap, you can be like,
That's just Sad Baby again. Sad Baby, wah, wah, wah. Talking mess that doesn't matter. Talking nonsense.
and then it separates it from being you. So then your brain doesn't as often register it as true. Sad Baby says things like,
He didn't want me because I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not as pretty as this other girl that he likes. And I'm not as good as her. I'm not going to be worthy for anybody. Nobody's going to want me.
Sad Baby, get the out of here. Go somewhere else with that. The last thing is really cool. And I actually did this at one point because I needed to hear it. And so something that really holds us back from finally detaching all the way, finishing this process and getting back to our regular life where we can be happy again, the closure. We want the closure. And so it feels like nothing can ever have closure until that person comes and tells us,
I know how I've hurt you. I'm so sorry.
and they mean it. And they really go into detail. It's like we want them to understand every part of how they hurt us, right? That would be nice. How many times has that ever happened? Not very often, especially with people that would do something like this. They don't do that. They think about themselves. They tell themselves a different story. They rewrite it in their head to where they didn't really do anything. And sometimes, if they even give you an apology, they give you just such a weak nothingness apology that means nothing, because how can they be sorry if they did everything that they did? And ultimately, what we really hoped was that amidst all their sorries, that it would just be that they didn't choose to do what they did, that they would choose you, that they would choose us. And that's not going to happen. And you're actually better off that didn't happen because of all the issues that they have and that they would bring into your life. It wouldn't be a good life. I promise you. It would be terrible. You would feel like this forever. You would never stop feeling the way that you felt when you were with them, when they were hurting you. Is that what you want? I don't think so. So we still long for that closure, though. We can't seem to let it go. So I asked ChatGPT to pretend to be that person. And I had told ChatGPT about the things that had hurt me. And I asked that ChatGPT write me a letter of apology, the one that I deserved to get from that person. ChatGPT. Yeah, ChatGPT delivered, baby. So Chat wrote me the apology letter. I read it out loud, and you can obviously write your own. That's fine. That's probably what people did before ChatGPT. But the fact that you have something that can write it outside of you and get it like completely spot on to what you wish that person would say really helps your brain to feel like you got it from that person. It really does. It felt so healing to read it and to cry about it and just release it. It felt like your body is holding on to waiting for that fairness to release you. And that's why you're stuck. And if you get this letter, even though you know deep down it didn't come from that person, it's everything that you need to hear. So it kind of makes you feel like you heard it because you didn't write it. So it's really cool. It really helps. So I read my letter, and I actually had a revelation while I was reading it that helped me to do a little extra growing, which was really cool. Chat had said something in there about,
I want to tell you something that I never told you. You are very much more than enough. None of this was your fault. It was me, and you didn't do anything wrong.
And when I read those words, I remembered for a moment that the person that I was thinking of when I had this happen to me did say all those things. They actually did. Maybe they didn't say it at the point when they had hurt me ultimately, but they said it in the past. They had said it at some point. And I realized that sometimes when someone hurts us so deeply, we start catastrophizing the entire situation, and we start only seeing all the negative things that they did and all the negative ways they made us feel, and then we start internalizing all those things like that is us and that's what we deserved. But really, they said a lot of great things too. They said all those things that we are wanting to hear, maybe just not when we wanted to hear them or how we wanted to hear them. But I was able to look up some messages, and I was able to find points where this person had said all of those things. So I was able to then read it in a text that was from that person, and I was like, they did say that to me. They did say that to me. So maybe they didn't say it when I wanted, and they didn't like put it in an apology letter and all of that, but they did say it. And that helped me to have some semblance of forgiveness and kind of let it go and just realize that this person they weren't for me, and it's fine. And I don't have to hate them forever. I can hate them for a little bit though. It's fine. It helped me to have the realization that it wasn't that they hadn't said that. It was that I could not believe that was true unless they had chosen me. And so at the end of the day, the fact that they did not choose me, they were not choosing me, all of that was irrelevant to me. Because the only thing that could fix that, and the only thing that could make me understand that I was good enough and that I was worthy and that all of this wasn't for nothing and that I matter to somebody, that I'm important, was if they chose me. And that was a wake-up call. And I realized
It's just about being chosen. It's just about being chosen.
they didn't say I wasn't good enough, but I saw it as,
Well, the evidence that I'm not good enough is that they don't choose me.
you were never meant to only know that you're worthy of something if you got picked. We're not pick-me's. We're not going to be pick-me's out here. No, you were never supposed to find your proof that you're valuable in the whims of people who don't even have a connection to their own integrity. They're not even thinking about other people. They're just literally serving their own whims. You don't need to base your worth off of that. That was not how it was supposed to go. You're not meant to audition for someone's love. You were never meant to be there. And I was never meant to be depending on that to find out that I was worth it and that it wasn't my fault. And of course it wasn't my fault. And it's not yours. It doesn't mean that you were foolish, that you are gullible, that you are desperate. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that you have way too much focus on needing to be chosen to know that you're worth something. And it also means that they did not have the capacity to give you what you deserve. And that's all it means. Trust that, okay? This is what you were really probably in love with this person, okay? Let me tell you a few things. You were in love with the version of that person that mirrored your goodness back to you. Big, okay, big. So sometimes people that do these types of things to us, they mirror you in the beginning. And you think you're falling in love with this great person as everything you've ever wanted. But the reason they seem like they have everything you've ever wanted is because they're just mirroring the goodness of you back to you. They're showing you what it looks like to be in the most happy place that you can ever be. You're missing that person that brought out the best parts of you, the best side of you, the happiest part of you. You're missing you. You're not missing them. You're missing the you that exists when you're happy. That's it. It has nothing to do with them because that wasn't them. That wasn't them in the beginning. This is more them, how they are now. So you're just missing you. You just got to find you, and you got to choose you. You are more in love with the possibility that this time you'll be good enough for someone to stay. And that's just BS. We've already been over it. And you're also in love with the hope that your value could finally be confirmed in somebody else's unwavering eyes. They would only have eyes for you because you're that valuable. You wanted to confirm that. And you don't need to confirm that because other people's flippant ways are not any of your business and have nothing to do with your worth, okay? All of that stuff is a mirage that's going to break your heart every time it fades away in the wind because it's not real. You see the truth now. Just because you're not chosen, not being picked does not mean you're less lovable. It just proves that person did not have the eyes to see you clearly and they got some blindness issues because what the heck is their problem? Passing on you. What the hell? All right. So now, every time you walk away from a situation where you didn't settle for breadcrumbs anymore, every time you soothe yourself through a detachment process where you felt rejected because you didn't go chase after somebody who wasn't treating you right, every time you remind yourself of these principles that you're not missing out on anything besides heartbreak is what they would have been to you. You're going to shift this truth and you're going to turn your grief into power. Rise up.
Stand up! Stand up!
So now that you're booting out sad baby or whatever you've named your inner addict or inner critic, you want to replace it with a new voice. And this one's going to be your best friend. This one's going to be the one that talks to you the way you deserve to be talked to, the one that gives you the right answers, the one that boosts you up when you're feeling like this. I'm going to give that friend a new inner dialogue and a mantra. And it can be something like this.
I do not need to be chosen by anyone to be worthy because I am already worthy as it is. I am not here to be picked. I am here to be known, respected, and loved with true depth. Their inability to see me clearly says absolutely nothing about my outer appeal or inner appeal and says everything about the quality of their eyesight. I release the need to be chosen by anyone on this earth in order for myself to feel the value that I already intrinsically embody.
I just did that together really quickly, so it wasn't like, oh. One thing I will say though, when you think about a flower growing in the wild, a beautiful flower, you just see this beautiful flower growing, okay? You're probably really gonna wanna pick that flower, right? Because it's so beautiful. And sure, some people might go past it and they might go,
Don't disturb it. It's going to die if you pick it.
they'll realize that. But other people don't realize that and they just pick it. And then they just want a temporary happiness from it. And then they're just going to toss it out as it dies and wilts. And then its beauty was just wasted because you just had to pick it, right? They just had to pick it. Why couldn't they just leave it where it was? Someone who really wanted to enjoy that flower's beauty would have taken the time to understand the flower, would have scooped it up at its soil and roots, and would have found a pot to plant it in and bring it with them. Someone who really cared about that flower would have understood that its beauty is only maintained if once in their care, it gets taken care of. They would take the time to understand what that flower needs. It's proper sunlight, proper soil, proper environment. And they would treat that flower with care because they want to keep that flower looking beautiful for a long term, not just enjoy its temporary pleasures by plucking it out of the ground so selfishly, enjoying it for an afternoon or two. What a waste of such a beautiful specimen. And that's why you don't want to be picked, sweets. That's why you don't want to be picked. You want to be cared for. You want to be respected. You want to be appreciated for all of the dynamic beauty that you have to offer. You don't want to be picked. You need to stay planted and you need to remain right there in all of your radiance until somebody comes along who understands that they don't get to just pluck you out of the ground for their temporary enjoyment. No, they need to understand how to properly care for you, okay? Because you're a gosh darn rose, or I don't know, a carnation, okay? Something pretty, a beautiful orchid, okay? And orchids need really special circumstances to stay alive. And if you kill an orchid once, sometimes it never blooms again. They're very fickle, but they're gorgeous. Remember that. Are you an orchid or are you a pick-me? I know the answer. You're an orchid. Okay? All right. Thank you for watching this video, for my anxious preoccupied, my fearful avoidance leading anxious, or just anybody who goes through this from time to time or often. You are important and you are loved. And come back anytime you need a reminder of that because it's true. And I'll be happy to do the reminding. Okay? Now go have a beautiful day. I love you. Bye.